if I'm the smartest dude in the room, there's something wrong.
I would agree with that, especially with you.
But yeah, if I'm the smartest guy in the room when there's 10 people there, I probably need to get in a different room.
Welcome to the Overlap Podcast, big business tactics for small business success. Dive into the intersections of work, fitness, family, faith, and leadership. We believe growth in one area fuels growth in all. Here's your hosts, Sid Sexton and Keith Glines.
Okay, episode 176, Keith. Sweat equity.
Sweat equity.
Just in time for summer. I feel like just walking into the building from the car to here, there's some sweat equity going on.
I walked from my office and I was definitely sweating. That was, like a quarter mile or something.
Yeah. So sweat equity is a term. Lots of people throw it out. Everyone kind of has an idea of what it is. Everyone is familiar with the concept. I don't know that everyone is, I don't know that everyone has really tapped into it. And what I mean by that is, to start things off, is you can have educational knowledge, an understanding of what something is conceptually, and then you can have experiential knowledge. And that's what we're talking about. Sweat equity, experientially.
I think most people think that they've contributed more sweat equity than they probably have.
Oh, yeah. Probably. Oh,
have you ever had those team members that was like, you know what I've done?
Yeah. Worked here for all 6 months. Yeah. 2 years. 2 years.
Yeah.
Give you 2 years of my life. And oh my God, here we go. Look, team member that worked here for 2 years, we had an agreement. You do X, I pay you Y. That's it. You go above and beyond X, and I'm very generous with that whole concept that we will start to pay you Z, if you're able to get to that level. But you have to produce value, and that's the deal. Sorry. You're going to have to work someplace. Is everyone owe you something more because of it? Sorry, back to your sweat equity and the misalignment of what real sweat equity is.
Now, let me say that I'm totally fine with you feel like you've put in sweat equity.
Yeah, let's have a discussion.
But
because maybe I missed something.
Maybe I missed something. And the contribution in which a team member gives, I think, should absolutely, if it's above and beyond what I sent them on that offer letter.
Yeah.
And the job description in which it is, I think it should be noticed.
Yeah. The nice thing about running EOS and doing it really well, like EOS purish, is that there's a scorecard. And then there's a quarterly conversation, and it's recorded. It's logged. You can go back through them. You can see, are they making real good progress? What do their rocks look like? Are they getting them done on time? Are their metrics green and everything moving up and to the right? Cool, you're creating more value. If not, you don't have a whole lot of argument about earning more.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's nice.
Maybe you're just doing your job.
Maybe. Because don't come at me with, you gave me 2 years of your life. When we just talked about our last episode, you don't have any concept of what it's like to carry the burden of building, scaling, owning this organization that provides employment for, 100 other people, because there's just lots that could go wrong, and everyone else gets to go get another job and they come and take my house.
On the other side, though, founder, owner, if you have people that's been with you and started early and your profits has grown exponentially, it's probably time to
Yeah, we've got some podcasts on that.
Give them that too. Honor them.
We've got some podcasts on that talks about, incentivizing great folks. We've got, what it should look like from our perspective. There's some stuff on that.
Yeah, but I think, we, a lot of times founders don't recognize, because we're kind of like our last podcast, we're in the thick of it.
Sure.
And
sure,
so
that won't get you real far. You will make some mistakes and lose some people, and you'll learn that lesson real quick.
Yeah,
you'll learn that lesson.
There's definitely been people that I've overlooked, in their contribution in which they gave, and then gave them enough time to get a little bitter or whatever it was to my oversight, resentful. Yeah, to the oversight. I just wish there was almost and this may be just me kind of talking out loud, some kind of marker of sweat equity. And I think you can do that within your job description to see when someone goes above and beyond.
I hate job descriptions.
I do too.
I hate them.
Well,
that's why I went to the EOS thing, where those metrics can kind of change as we move throughout the quarter, the years, whatever. But these are the outcomes we're looking for out of your position.
And not to just hate on the younger generation here. And I've dealt with this a little bit over the last few months, is someone telling me that's not in my job description.
Oh, that's a good one. Love that. That's why I don't like the job description.
Yeah.
I like outcomes.
Right.
What are the outcomes this position is designed to produce?
Do you think that's better to track sweat equity?
Yeah,
you're noticing sweat equity?
Yeah, because you can see they're going above and beyond. They're doing other things outside of that. And so that requires some additional compensation. And if they're going above and beyond in some areas, they're probably picking up a lot of slack for other people.
I just couldn't have imagined in my early working career to look at my boss and say, well, that's not really in my job description.
Yeah, I couldn't either. I don't know.
I ask, where would you like your coffee, sir?
Yeah. I haven't had a whole lot of experience with that. I haven't had.
Well, you got to remember, I deal with creatives.
I get it, and I don't get that. But then again, I don't really like job descriptions because I think that puts a hell of a lot of burden on me, and there's only one upside for them. Yeah, I mean, there's only one upside for me and lots of upside for them. So.
Quite frankly, most of the business I started the first few years was sweat equity.
All sweat equity.
I didn't get anything back other than that.
Yeah. And But back to, and we're talking about this, and you can have, educational, learned or assumed concepts, and you can have some knowledge about some things, and we're talking about sweat equity today, or you could have experiential knowledge. And if you want to learn something, pretty well, it's going to take repetition, reps, right? If you're going to learn jujitsu, let's say you really want to get good at takedowns, learning the move or watching it on YouTube, you have a certain amount of knowledge. This is what it's supposed to look like. Then and you are not going to be good unless you've got a real good base of jujitsu to begin with. You're not going to learn that. You just have some understanding of what it's supposed to look like. But if you really want to be good, you've got to do the reps. You've got to have some experiential knowledge of where do you put your foot? How do you create balance? How do you create angles? How do you change levels? How do you get them off balance? How do you get them to step where you need to? Where's your first step need to be? I mean, all those things you've got to work out. And it's going to take tons and tons of reps. And that's how you get good at anything. And that's how you really learn something. And if we know that sweat equity is what it takes to build and grow a business, there's almost nothing better to give you the reps needed to be comfortable and understand when you're in that mode or when that's happening, or to feel, comfortable with it, is then in the gym. It's whether that's jujitsu, whether that's, the Globo gym, doing your bench presses. I mean, you do that enough, you're going to build your body and look a certain way.
Like the other day when you
Or
were at
CrossFit gym.
Gold's.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was a long time ago, but I was there. Holy cow. It was wild.
Did you scream in there?
I didn't.
I want to go in one of
I-
those places and like grunt.
I
and stuff.
didn't. I didn't. I did eventually find their little CrossFit area, and they had bumper plates. They didn't have very many.
Yeah.
Yeah. I put all of them on a plate and could still clean them.
Oh, sweet.
It was wild.
You should have said that out loud.
Yeah.
Hey, I've got all the plates on.
There was no one in there to even say it to.
Oh.
It was an empty room.
Hey, guys, I want to tell you about my friend Wes Cody. He's the president of C2 Wealth Strategies, a financial advisory firm dedicated to providing personalized solutions for your financial needs. Wes and his team of professionals are passionate about helping clients create wealth and achieve financial freedom. At C2 Wealth Strategies, they believe in taking a holistic approach to financial planning and are committed to building long-lasting relationships with their clients, ensuring their financial well-being every step of the way. Don't leave your financial future to chance. Contact Wes and C2 Wealth today at c2wealth.com to schedule a consultation. Let Wes and his team help you build your financial future.
If you're a small business owner looking to take your business to the next level, listen up. My good friend Chris Francis has spent over 20 years growing his tree care business to national success. Now he's partnered with Rick Miller, you've probably heard him here on the podcast before, Harvard MBA, and business consultant to create Roadmap for Growth, an online course to help you scale, build teams, and create systems that last. It's not just for the tree industry. This course applies to any small service business. Check out treebusiness.com or hit the link on the Overlap homepage to learn more.
The gym is actually a great example of sweat equity.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
My favorite trainer, Dr. Mike,
ETSU alum, by the way.
says that I was listening to a podcast with him, and he was talking about what it takes to maintain after you get there.
Okay.
And I think you can relate that to sweat equity
Sure.
as well. Because I think at first, when you start a position, that you really have to put in above and beyond what that position requires.
Maybe, yeah.
And then there comes a baseline to where you feel pretty confident in it. And
Mhm.
so what he says in just relation to like lifting is to get to the place that you desire is going to take you busting your tail, but to maintain it is a lot less
Taxing.
Yeah.
Difficult. Yeah.
Yeah. So at first, in anything you do, I think you have to put in the sweat equity to learn it.
Yeah. Yeah, because everything has inertia, right? A rocket ship is going to use half of its fuel just to get off the damn ground, or through the atmosphere, right? Getting in shape is a hell of a lot more difficult than staying in shape, and that's what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Once the inertia happens, your body kind of knows what to do, and in the first couple of years, you may have to go ham. You may have to go 5 days a week if you want to get to where you want to look or feel, within a certain amount, within a year or 2 years. But if not, you go twice a week. It's going to take you a hell of a lot longer,
Yeah, it is.
And you may get distracted because you're not seeing the results you want. Right
Same
now.
with your occupation.
Oh yeah,
Same with the thing that you do to bring in money or whatever.
yeah,
You're going to feel disproportionate. The work is going to be disproportionate to the income for a while. Especially when you're starting a business. Maybe not in a salary job so much.
yeah,
But because sometimes they pay you to learn.
yeah. They do. Yeah.
But when you're starting a business, it's always going to feel
Disproportionate.
disproportionate
Oh,
to the work
dude.
that you have to put in.
Yeah, I was working 70, 75
Yeah.
hours a week, making $36,000 a year. That's a 100% fact.
Yep.
And I did that for about 3 years.
Yep. Me too.
Terrible. I could have worked almost anywhere and had a better life, and made more money.
The first year I just used my savings.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah, first year.
That was calculated.
Yeah, first year I didn't pay myself either. That's
that was calculated by me. I had a chunk coming out of the corporate world.
Yeah.
And I was like, if this don't work, I'll have to go back to the corporate world.
Yeah.
But luckily it worked out. But I used pretty much all of it.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And so before I paid myself.
Man, me too. Yeah. It was rough.
And then when I paid myself, I didn't pay myself what I was making in the corporate world.
Yeah, and you probably weren't paying yourself what you'd have to pay someone else to do the same job.
Not at all. I probably don't do that now.
But it does take a little while to get that going. And that is sweat equity. And back to reps and how you learn it, and one of the best ways to kind of get comfortable with that sweat equity and know what it is and know the feeling is the gym, physical fitness of some sort. Maybe you're a runner and you want to run a marathon. There's going to be some real sweat equity to get into that point.
I wanted to run a marathon until a couple weeks ago when we had to just do 11 miles.
Oh, yeah. Up and down a hill. That's tough.
Yeah. And then I got done with that. I was like, yeah, I think this is enough.
11 miles. Yeah. You would have had to go on. Yeah. That was halfway.
That was halfway. Yeah. I don't want to go any further than that.
I don't know that I had another 100% of that. That would have been tough. Yeah. What if we did a marathon up and down? What if Bowling on Belrose was a marathon?
Oh,
how many people would finish?
That's 2 Everests.
Oof, I know.
But I don't even like to compare it to that, though, because you got a lot of extenuating circuit. That's just the elevation of Everest.
Right.
I mean, this is a paved road.
It is. Yeah. But so whether it's CrossFit, Jiu-Jitsu, Globo Gym, you build the traits in that gym to not only be good or look good or feel good in the gym, and jiu-jitsu is a really good one. You're really not going to get good unless you get a bunch of reps, and you are going to be real uncomfortable. That's where you learn those traits that are essential in growing a business.
You're going to get your tail beat in jiu-jitsu for years.
Yeah. Yeah. And man, it's really okay. It's really okay. I can say that on the other side of it, not on the other side because I still get my tail beat, but now.
But there's levels.
8 years later, I understand it to a certain point that I can do a whole lot of beating some tail.
I was in a room yesterday, not in jiu-jitsu, but this goes back to levels of, I can walk in some rooms business-wise and feel pretty competent.
Yeah.
I was in rooms yesterday afternoon that I was totally with black belts in the business world.
Yeah. That's good. That's where you want to be.
Yeah. You want to learn. If you're the smartest dude in the room, well, I don't know how smart you are, but if I'm the smartest dude in the room, there's something wrong.
I would agree with that, especially with you.
But yeah. If I'm the smartest guy in the room when there's 10 people there and I'm in the wrong room, I probably need to get in a different room. I probably need to put in some more work to go do some,
or just find
something else.
Find some mentors. Find some people that'll teach you.
Yeah.
Same way with jiu-jitsu. If you're the best guy in the room, you might want to look at another jiu-jitsu gym. Okay, but so CrossFit, jiu-jitsu, those are areas you get a lot of reps, and you build the traits that are essential in building a business. And what are those traits? Number one is going to be consistency. If you think you're going to build a business by a side hustle, I've never met anyone that puts in just a couple hours every other week or every other day, and they build this great business that's going to support them and their families. I just don't see it. If you're going to get good at jiu-jitsu and learn it, you're going to have to go consistently. And that doesn't have to be every day, but 3 days a week, probably 3 days a week is going to be required, and it's going to take you 2 years before you kind of get an idea of what's going down. 2 years before you kind of get an idea, oh, this is where I hip escape to get away and create space. You can talk about concepts in jiu-jitsu, basic concepts. When I'm on defense, I want to create space so I can move to a position where I can attack. Then when I'm on offense, I want to take away space. Whether that's smothering, whether that's not allowing them to move, something like that. Basic concepts. It takes a couple of years for you to be able to be in a position at any moment and go, I'm on defense, I need to create space. Let me get my frames. Or I'm on offense, let me just suck these grips in and make sure that I don't leave any space so I can attack.
And the correlation to business there is if you think you're going to go into business and immediately have wins, you're probably wrong.
It doesn't happen very often. Not everyone is BJ
And if you're
Penn.
going to be able to have space,
Yeah.
you're going to have to put in the equity to work to get the space.
Yeah.
And it's going to take time. I'm in the founder world now, and I meet with so many budding, excited entrepreneurs that start something and then fizzle out after 3 months because they have no idea of the equity, of the sweat they have to put in to build it.
Yeah. Yeah. When people start jiu-jitsu, they want to be a black belt. Dude, that is some real consistency.
I'll be real honest
over
with you.
years.
I'll be real honest with you. And maybe this is like age. I want to take a while to get to my black belt.
Oh, God. Yeah.
I need to chew on brown belt for a long while.
Yeah. At least 2 or 3 years. At least. So, consistency is an essential trait in business, and you get to learn that in the gym. CrossFit, you're getting good at cleans, snatches, if that's what you're into. Freaking hate those things. Muscle ups, double unders, toes to bar.
Speaking of that,
muscle
you did
ups.
that double under workout?
Mm-hmm.
It didn't hurt your shoulder?
It didn't.
The rope don't hurt your shoulder?
Mm-mm. No, and there are a bunch of burpees and freaking kettlebell swings too.
I saw the kettlebell.
Yeah, ripped my hand up, but
yeah, I saw your picture.
But it's fine.
I saw you go set the lighter kettlebell down and go take the picture of the bigger one.
Oh my God. Oh my God. But you do get to be consistent, and
consistency is the key in it. I think that's
success
the key
anywhere.
in everything.
Yeah.
It's success. It's family.
Success in
it's
anything.
business. It's working out.
It's just consistency.
It's doing podcasts.
Everyone can get excited and motivated for a couple of weeks, a couple of months. Can you be excited and motivated for a decade?
Yep.
Everyone overestimates what they can get done in a year or a day or a week, and everyone underestimates what they can get done in a decade. It's crazy.
Hey, let me tell you about a friend of the show called Content Fresh. Since they've taken over our social media for the Overlap podcast, we've seen incredible growth. When you combine the growth from all social platforms, we're looking at a massive increase of 2,235%. This partnership has truly transformed our reach and engagement. If you're passionate about growing your business, partnering with Content Fresh could be a game changer for you. Go to overlaplife.com and click on sponsors today.
I want to take a moment to talk about someone who's been instrumental in my personal and business success. That's Johnny Barranco and his team at Barranco & Associates. For over 7 years, Johnny has been my go-to accountant and financial consultant. I can tell you that he's more than just a tax preparer. Johnny takes a holistic approach to all my financial dealings, aligning them with my long-term plans and personal lifestyle. I've recommended Johnny to several friends throughout different business groups around the country, and the feedback has been nothing short of exceptional. His expertise and service are top-notch. So if you're looking for someone who not only prepares your taxes, but also helps you strategize for the future, Johnny and his team at Barranco & Associates are the ones to call. Trust me, you won't regret it. So contact Johnny Barranco today and take the first steps towards financial peace. So the next key trait that you can learn in business is...
I think this trait also is required in consistency.
I probably, and it's damn sure required in leadership.
It is, but I think to be consistent, and you don't talk about this word, you're not going to be consistent.
Yeah, and so we're talking about humility. Probably the number one trait in leadership is humility, and probably top 5 in growing a business is going to be humility. And probably top 5 if you're going to get good at jiu-jitsu, it's going to be humility. You got to get comfortable being uncomfortable and not being the best. And it not coming easy and getting tapped out 42 times last night by someone that looks like you should just be able to beat up. They might be a scrawny 19-year-old blue belt and you're a white belt that weighs 40 pounds more. You might be walking in at 200 pounds and this person is 160 and they're just rolling you up like a pretzel. That's pretty humiliating. Humbling. Humiliating is a tough word, but humbling. It's humbling. And once you realize that that's okay, you're both on the same journey. He's just further along in the path. That's all it is. It's crazy when the lights turn on in jiu-jitsu and you realize that every one of those rolls at the end of or in your training session, and people listening, when you actually do jiu-jitsu, they call it rolling. But those practice rounds, if you will, I don't have to go 110% and go berserko. I should be thinking about what position am I going to try to work on today and get beat trying to do it and be okay with that so I can learn faster, better. And that takes humility to do that. If I don't have any humility, I'm just going to try to muscle everyone and I don't get to advance my skill level and never get to be the level I want to be. Humility.
Take on
risks.
the flip side of that, when someone with less time put in than you surpasses you.
Oh, yeah. That's humbling.
I.e. Jason, even though he was an Olympic wrestler.
Oh, dear God. But a better example would be Travis.
Yeah.
Travis is just so good. We got a guy at our gym that's probably been doing jiu-jitsu for like 3 years, 4 years maybe now at this point. And he's a very good purple belt. Very good. But he's super flexible. He's very strong. And he lived with a Brazilian for the first couple of years of him training.
Let him live with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and he just trained all the time, was very consistent.
Yep.
And got good fast.
Yep.
He's a problem in the gym, for real. Consistency, humility. And then the last one that we've got written down here, by no means is this the last trait. And
if you don't have this trait, you're not going to be in business very long.
And you're not going to be very good at anything else. First one we said was consistency. Second was humility. And resilience is number 3. You've got to be able to get knocked down and then get back up in business.
Get knocked down.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
That old song there.
That is it. That is the key to business.
Man.
The key to life, the key to family, the key to marriage.
You're going to lose a key employee. You're going to lose a key contract. You're going to not get the bid that you had already planned on. You were already spending that money in your head. You're going to, what else? You're going to lose, a general contractor. I don't know. You're going to lose subcontractors. You're all kinds of things.
Your downstairs and upstairs air is going to go out in the same month.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, resilience in life. I mean, maybe that marriage just didn't work out. You going to give up on love, because that person just didn't have the same sort of values you had. You didn't know that. And, turns out now that it's never going to work out and you got to move forward. You got to be resilient.
Don't be bitter, be better.
There you go. But in jiu-jitsu, I mean, golly, you're going to get crushed. And it's just, you got to be okay with that and get taken down by someone, brand new. And you might not be expressing the most humility. You might be dancing around and, lowering your guard, and then they just blast double leg you, and your friends find it on camera from the gym and then start spreading it around. That might happen.
It went viral. Yeah. He's talking about me.
Oh, God, it was so good.
But you know what? It made me so happy to give Jourdain.
Oh, he was so fired up.
He was now he thinks he's good at jiu-jitsu.
I know. He really does.
As I was dancing and spinning all around him this week, I reminded him he wasn't.
Yeah.
But
I
he will have that video forever.
He will. He got a big boost in confidence, and
he really did.
He's going to stick around for a long time now. That was a good win for him. But I'm less vocal about it, but I did hit the move of the day about 10 times today. All I kept doing was just getting him into the same position and doing a stack pass and just, crunching him over and passing.
Yep.
It's just great. Sorry. So resilience, CrossFit or any other gym is you're going to be hurt. And you got to decide, are you injured or are you hurt? Are you sore and tired or are you hurt? Because you're not going to be getting to your potential, if you will, if you come up with a bunch of excuses all the time. You got to be resilient. In CrossFit, there's time domains or whatever. You got a clock going, and there's a community, and some people get real into having the best time, and when they don't, you can tell it really affects their personality, their ego, their identity of who they are.
You got to take my perspective from this week in Murph. I just had the perspective of finishing.
Yeah, I've got plenty of videos.
I know.
It was great.
You put videos everywhere, but my goal.
I only sent it to Scott.
I know,
in the group.
but my goal was just to finish.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey,
and I didn't do that bad,
and that's fine.
But, yeah.
No one cares what your Murph time is.
Yeah, no one cares. However, the fact that Zach Day more than doubled me was.
Oh yeah.
But I shouldn't compare myself to him anyway.
No,
it's not
freaking. Is he 30 even?
I don't know.
I don't think so. I think he's like 29.
And when he does a pull up, he only has
gymnast.
to pull like 130 pounds.
Yeah, and he's an exceptional athlete.
Yeah, but you know what? I did 100 pull ups, 200
push-ups.
And maybe 300 air squats, but some of them probably weren't right.
And you
walked
by that
a mile.
Time. You walked a mile.
I ran a mile and walked a mile.
Yeah, with a weight vest.
That's right.
Did all that with a 20-pound weight vest. There you go. Consistency, humility, and resilience. That's what you learn in the gym that teaches you about business. I'm sure there's more. Please message us online. Let us know what we missed, but. Just get the concept that that's where you get to experientially understand about sweat equity. You start seeing results from those areas of your life. Here's the overlap, is that when it starts to get hard at work, you can just start breaking it down into rounds, Oh, this is going to take 7 rounds, 7 weeks, whatever. You can start trudging your way through that tough time at work. If you've trained yourself to do it in life at the gym, man, it just really is a good way to learn discipline. And discipline's what it takes to build sweat equity. You got anything else on this?
I do not.
Yeah, we figured this would be a short one. And there's lots more to it, but we don't want to keep beating a dead horse. hopefully you got the point. Hopefully this is inspirational to get you up off the couch or out of bed and up early. Go carve out that time for you, and you'll feel better about yourself. You'll feel better just in general, and you'll start getting some real good understanding of what sweat equity is before you actually need it in business. I think that's all I got, man.
Yeah, I think that's a good one.
See you next time.
Peace.